Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and I heard a new term on a podcast recently, and it was iTero Wellness Scan. And I've always talked about scanning every patient with iTero. That basically I always say every butt in the chair needs to be scanned with an iTero. I know a lot of you don't have an iTero, but there's something about the iTero in terms of the display and some of the easy functionality and the outcome simulator that just pops up, and it helps you to be able to explain easily in milliseconds to the patient what's going on with their occlusion. So hence the iTero wellness scan. So I've been talking about this for ages. You can go into my YouTube channel, which is Straightsmile Solutions. You can put in the keyword iTero, lower ITERO. And see all the content I have on using your iTero in your practice to generate revenue, to generate starts. It doesn't even have to be ortho. There's so much you can do with it, just to educate patients. And I think it's really just standard of care to document. I mean, right now, think about this. 30, 40 years ago, we weren't even doing perio probing. We weren't even wearing gloves when I was a kid. You know, things are coming along. Oral cancer screening wasn't happening. Now it's standard of care, right? What else? I mean, obviously, we always take an x-rays, we look for decay, we're charting that. This is a different type of charting. This is a charting the occlusion. So this is really the only way to do this. And that's why I like the iTero. I know a lot of you are thinking it's not profitable because the tips cost a couple dollars each, and you're like, oh, I'm losing $3, $4 with each one. Is there a way I can bill for this? At this moment, I don't know of any code that you could bill for a occlusion scan or occlusion education. Maybe there is something. If you know something, let me know. But what you can do is I know a lot of dentists that make tip libraries or tip storage where they basically have the patient number and they have the tip in a baggie or in like pull-out drawers, you know, for each patient, tip pull-out. I mean, it does take up space. If you have the storage, that's great. It's a couple dollars per scan. I mean, I love the idea of it being sustainable. The other thing you can do is you can hand your patient the tip after it and say, hey, make sure you bring this to every appointment. You could bill the patient for the tip if they don't bring it. That's another option. I mean, I think if you're in an area that's maybe a little more sustainability focused, you can definitely get away with doing something like that where you put it on the patients. Certainly if they start Invisalign, we toss the tip in their box, you know, with the rest of their aligners. That way we're saving money and saving the planet and saving plastic. But just some ideas. You could definitely get creative with storing the tip. I recommend doing the wellness scan at least once a year. That way you can sequentially and progressively see any disease as it progresses. You can see the occlusion, if it's getting worse, if it's getting better. You can see the crowding, you can see abfractions, you can see if the bite is balanced, see if it's getting better, if it's getting worse. So you can see the progression of disease developing, and it's just a clear, easy way to educate patients. It doesn't have to be the dentist that does it. Anyone can do it. The hygienist can do it. Your back office can do it. Your front office can do it. In most states, if not all states, you can double check your Dental Practice Act in the states, and they often change, so don't go by me. But during the time of SDC and some of these other direct-to-consumer companies, some of these dental boards started saying scans were a more invasive procedure like a radiologist and needed to be done by a licensed person, but it's really just a series of photos. So in most states you can do it. You just have to look at the small print in your Dental Practice Act. But so read that first, obviously, to see who can do it in your practice. But in most states, anyone can do it. I mean, you had SmileDirectClub, just random people off the street without being trained, you know, doing these in WeWorks, you know. So I don't see why you can't do it. And have everybody cross-trained in your office. I mean, we've heard of people hiring college students to come in and be a scan tech and just scanning every patient and just documenting it and just taking a look at, you know, you can push the occlusion button and see if it's balanced or not. You can look at crowding. You can use the occlusogram feature and see how much crowding there is. You can click the outcome simulator to see what it would look like with the teeth straight. If you're using the Invisalign practice app, it can, and if you have a 5 or above, it will integrate the teeth into the face and show what the smile will look like with the full face with the straight teeth. It is extremely powerful. You'd be surprised just from taking this scan. Not only could you potentially get an ortho start, and if you're not confident on knowing if this is a good case, a bad case, a referral case, this is definitely something you can work with one of many orthodontists like myself to help educate you. You know, it's rinse and repeat over time. Your confidence is going to go up. There's only so many different iterations of different bites. I mean, very rarely am I thrown off by something new. I'm like, oh, I've seen this 1,000 times. This is easy, right? So just get your confidence up, work with an orthodontist for a few months and you're going to have it down, you know, and if it's something super hard, you refer it out, not a big deal. You know, the main thing is that your patient is given an opportunity to understand that their occlusion could be improved and how their oral health could improve with better occlusion. So that is the ultimate goal. And even if it's not ortho, retainers, even if somebody has straight teeth, they probably need new retainers. Retainers are meant not to last a lifetime. They have to be switched out on a regular basis. So unless they're still going back to their orthodontist on a regular basis for retainer checks, and that's a question you can ask, you can dispense retainers. That's easy. Scan, push a button, you know, retainers, stick them in their mouth. You know, there's a couple $100 right there. Night guards, mouth guards, splints, whatever else you need. Bleaching trays can all be done from an iTero. Let alone if you got younger kids, you know, expanders, phase 1 appliances, there's so much more that you can do. So definitely consider doing an iTero wellness scan on every patient, and there's absolutely no reason it shouldn't be crazy profitable. I have never heard of anyone who does this properly that isn't hundreds of thousands of dollars the first year. I mean, it happens to everybody if you actually use it. All right, thanks so much.